Hey, this is Sandy,
And Randy.
and we're here on AT Corner.
Being an athletic trainer comes with ups and downs, and we're here to showcase it all.
Join us as we share our world in sports medicine.
Welcome back to another episode of AT Corner. For this story episode, we are talking about something that I'm pretty sure every athletic trainer has had to deal with at some point.
What time do you leave work?
Yes, leaving work is a tricky subject when it comes to athletic training.
And athletics in general.
Yes, we don't have the typical clock in, clock out, 9 to 5, after I leave the office, I don't have to think about work. That is definitely not the case.
Well, I have had a job that was like that.
That's true. It does exist.
But non-traditional setting.
Yeah.
Traditional setting...
That's a different story. A lot of these athletes sometimes don't have the concept of time, or just the athletic schedule doesn't care about the concept of time.
No, the worst is the sports that don't have a clock.
Oh, that is the worst.
Like volleyball,
There's no predefined.
Well, volleyball is actually not that bad if they go 3.
Yes.
If they go in 3. It doesn't matter who wins or loses, just go in 3.
Yes, if my team is down 2-0, I hate to say it, but I need that other team to win because that's straight sets, baby.
But baseball...
Or, just to keep talking about volleyball, if we're down 0-2 and we win that next set, well, you know what? You kept me here long enough. We better win that game.
I was gonna say you better go to 5.
Yeah, you better, and you better win.
You better win.
Yeah, if you keep me there for 5 sets, you better win this game.
Yeah. Baseball.
Yes. That's all. You just have to say that. Baseball. And people already know.
That's all. No clock.
Everybody knows.
Like, softball has no clock, but I feel like softball goes a lot faster.
Well, they
than
also
baseball.
have the luxury of the mercy rule.
Do they have a mercy rule?
In softball, they do.
I thought it was a time... Sometimes they do a time limit for the first game.
Yes, but yeah, in general, there is a mercy rule. I think it's if a team's up, I think by 10 runs after the 5th inning, then they'll call it.
Oh, yeah. You're right. So, Randy, do you have any times that you were leaving work and you had to stay late for something? This is an obvious question.
I was going to say, yeah, most of the time. Not so much now, but before, and usually it's like, we're finishing up and a kid will just like randomly walk in, like, because their practice was pretty close to being, like, they just finished up not too long ago, and like he was doing something, like, dude, like, you should have came in first. Right, I'll get that. And
well, how long do you usually stay after practice?
we didn't stay super. I would say we maybe gave the kids 30 minutes to an hour. It kind of depended on the load.
That's a long time. I've never stayed an hour after practice.
Yeah. It would kind of depend on the load.
Like at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, all I'm really doing is like recovery stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we did.
I'm not doing like treatments like before practice.
There were some kids where it was almost easier for them to come in and do their rehab towards the end of the day. And like, I was like, okay, like, this is the time we're trying to leave. As long as you come in a little bit before that, like, we can at least get this stuff going and we'll get that done.
I tell them, whatever you can do with me, you do here. But anything that you can't do with me... Oh, sorry. Anything...
Other way around.
Yeah. Anything that you have to do with me, do it here now first. And then everything else, do at home.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to stay here with you to just watch you do the things you could do at home.
Yeah. So, really, like, if they came in right when we were trying, like, hey, we're getting out of here, I'd kind of judge it on the severity of what's happening. Right? If it's something that this can wait till tomorrow... Guy, we're closing. We'll look at you tomorrow. But if it's kind of one of those things where, like, oh, I better look at this now, make sure he doesn't die, then we'll do that then.
Okay, I can't remember who said it, but someone was telling me about it depends on the time of the year. So if they're about to go to playoffs, okay, yeah, I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
If they're not,
we're getting out of here.
Priorities, no.
Yeah, no. Hey, so that gives the team incentive to make the playoffs.
So they can stay more time in the ATR?
For the athletes, they can have a little more access to the AT.
So-
See? We're just trying to be motivators.
So our first listener story is from Christina N, and she was talking about how there was one time that there was like an emergency situation
Okay.
where she had to deal with, and then after that she said she had more, and I was like, oh, you want to share more? She gave me 5 other times that she had to stay late.
Of course.
Yeah.
But also, I believe you had kind of an emergency situation as a student while I think towards the end of your day.
Yeah, right when I was gonna head out to your
Yeah.
your award ceremony.
Yeah.
So I think I already told this story on the podcast, but if you haven't gone back, one of our football coaches when I was a student had a stroke, like at the end of practice.
Yeah.
And long story short, I was put on blood pressure, but I was really not comfortable with doing blood pressure. But I mean, I did it.
Now,
It was like my first or second rotation.
oh, that was your second rotation. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I was like so nervous, and I was like, why am I doing this right now?
So why didn't you like to do blood pressure?
I mean, not every student doesn't really like
That's
to.
true. I thought it was because of the stethoscope.
Oh, I also don't like putting the stethoscope in my ears because it's too loud. But that's another story. But I did it. I told the EMTs
Yeah.
what his blood pressure was.
You crushed your role.
Yeah, he was okay. And I wasn't late for your thing. I just wasn't as early as I'd hoped.
Yeah,
I
no.
think.
Yeah, no. It was fine.
I texted Randy. I was like, emergency situation.
And as all ATs, no, we understand that.
So anyway, back to Christina N's story. She said, at the very end of a football game, we were getting on the bus to leave, but then a player on the other team collapsed.
Nice.
We had to wait 20 minutes for an ambo. Athlete had an underlying heart condition, but glad he made it out alive and kicking.
Oh, nice.
Okay, the worst part about this is like, he literally played the entire game, and it was at the end of the game.
Yes. That
Also, it was the other team, and so I was like, did they have to come find you? Or like,
yeah.
like access at that point is probably a little bit harder.
It's probably, yeah, I was going to say.
Because if it happened on the field, like, you know where the ATs are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Glad it didn't happen, like, on the way home.
And also trying to find the staff to find your AT, because I'm sure the staff at the school is trying to get out of there quickly, so they're not as, like you said, access could be a problem.
Right. It's kind of like when you had the kid who had a seizure at the end of the race. It was, like, at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Like, after he passed the finish line.
Yeah, after we passed him along to go get water.
Yeah, seriously.
Very, very ironic. I'm glad it didn't happen on the course, though.
No.
That would have been a disaster.
Okay, so another one from Christina. She said, at the end of the game, I don't know what game, I was packing my things, and my athlete from another sport was walking downstairs and dislocated their knee.
Oh.
Like, and I said, true knee or patella? And she's like, no, true knee.
That's very unlucky.
I know. And
That's
I was like,
very
there had to
unlucky.
be a prior injury. And she said, I had it reduced, but had to call the parents to pick them up since she was a minor and had fractured her patella before.
Okay.
Told them to go to the ER.
Nice. I didn't know stairs could be that deadly.
Right.
Man.
Actually, one time when I was a dancer in high school, the night before our dance show, finished dress rehearsals, packing up to go, actually, one of the girls was coming down the stairs and inverted her ankle.
Ooh.
Really bad.
Oof.
And so she couldn't perform the next day, which was such a bummer.
It's okay. I had, I'm not kidding. And if anyone has worked track, it probably makes sense to you. I had one of my track kids invert their ankle tying their shoes. Yep. Oh, real life. I'm not lying. He came in with ankle pain, and he was like, I asked, okay, what happened? He said, I don't know. I was tying my shoes. So I don't know how he tied his shoes that inverted his ankle, but it is very true.
How bad is his balance?
It was probably pretty poor, but I'm just saying. Only track kids.
Right.
Yep.
Here's another one. Christina said she literally just left the field. She heard a scream, turned around, and one of her athletes somehow tore their ACL, MCL, and meniscus.
Wait, but we don't know how.
Well, it was behind her back.
That's so interesting.
As she was leaving.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Then it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm going home
not
yet.
leaving. And here we go.
I'm just going to turn around.
At least, it's not like ACL, MCL, meniscus, like, at least, like, that's a quick exam. Like, you can, like, pick that up pretty quick. So at least it's not like, man, trying to figure this out. Like, man, this is going to take me a bit.
But then it's like the pain modulation.
Yeah, the
and
management for that.
Yeah. Okay, this one's really sad.
Okay.
Walking up the stairs from the train, I saw an Achilles tendon rupture. The athlete was running up the stairs because they were late for film.
That is really sad.
Yeah.
He was just trying to make it to film.
I know. This is like a reminder to tell your athletes, do not run to film. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to get injured on the court.
Yes. Or time management. Make sure be on time so you don't have to run.
Right. Also, severe dehydration and hypothermia at the end of the game, and also panic attacks when leaving for practice are the worst. Had 5+ on different occasions.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because like you can't necessarily like leave that situation very quickly.
No way.
So you're going to, like, if that's happening, you're locked in. You're going to be there for a bit.
I had an athlete who was in so much pain it sent her into a panic attack.
Oh, poor thing.
And it was during COVID time, and I was like, I really don't care about COVID right now. Like, there was no way I was going to tell her to put a mask on her face.
Yeah.
And she was just breathing really hard, and I've never seen anyone in that much pain.
Yeah, that's tough.
But literally all I could, like, it was one-on-one time with her. Like, I couldn't do anything else in that moment.
Yeah.
I had to, like, if it was in the middle of my day, but if it was at the end of the day, like, there was no way I could have left that.
Oh, yeah, no.
No way.
No, not at all. So, Christina sounds like she has definitely a hard time leaving the office.
Yeah, I don't know what setting this is in, actually. Obviously something traditional.
Yes, definitely.
Although I gotta say that my job that I do, the per diem non-traditional, that's like a set hours, there have been times that I have had to leave later. Like, if I'm doing like a costume consult at the end of the day.
Of course.
Or if I have to travel all the way across the amusement park, it's like, well, I'm not going to get back here in time.
Yeah.
But you get paid for overtime or like for staying.
Nice, that's good.
I mean, it doesn't happen a lot.
Well, I feel like Christina should put an alert like, hey, like, I'm leaving, guys. Don't do anything. Stop all activity. We'll see you tomorrow.
I feel like if she puts out that alert, then things are going to happen.
Yeah, probably.
It's just probably going to jinx it.
Yeah, probably. That's true. All right, so this next one's by Garrett F. On non-game days, I leave on time normally, but a lot of things still pop up. Games I never know because I run into problems that are not injury related, such as scoreboard issues and referees being late. Ooh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
One time, our basketball game started over an hour late because the referee didn't know how to work GPS and assumed he would know how to get there. So we almost ran into that issue ourselves where I was setting up for the game, and then I heard basketball. And I heard
It's always basketball. It's always basketball.
So I overheard from like one of our operations people that like he was asking, "Where are the refs?" And I was like, "Oh, of course." And I really was, because this game was kind of like a meaningless, like non-conference game. Like, we were gonna crush this team. Like, the team we played hasn't won a game all year. They're like 0-15, and I'm just like, please let this game just be canceled. Refs ain't gonna be here. Let's just go home. The refs came fairly on time too, so at least we didn't stay late.
Oh, that's good.
That's positive.
I had at the high school that I worked at, the athletic director was like a part-time. I think they had a full-time job somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
And so obviously, like, this was not their number one priority. And so we had a lot of problems with getting refs, and we didn't even have our own basketball facility, so we rented out one.
Yeah.
And so there were this is the same school that multiple times I went to the game and no one else was there.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, that was really the worst because I had to drive an hour, which was really annoying.
Yes.
And then there were multiple times where the refs wouldn't show up, or they would have like 2 refs instead of 3. And so then like the two, they could do it with two,
Yeah, of
so they
course.
managed. But volleyball, I had one time where they had no refs because they showed up in San Diego, which is
nice.
2 hours away from us.
Yeah.
And so I think the coaches end up being the refs.
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't know how they made that work. This was a college game, like recently.
I guess just honor system.
Yeah, I was like, how is this like impartial? But I mean, they did it. I guess they didn't want to wait 2 hours or cancel it.
And I'm sure it was probably like a non-conference kind of thing, so score necessarily didn't matter, maybe?
I don't think so.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Yeah. I remember thinking it was really odd.
I don't see coaches being okay with that. Like, I feel like one of them would have a problem.
It was the head coach, too, that was the one on the tower.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And I was like, he's not going to be able to talk to his team.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. I thought it was really weird, but I was just thankful that I didn't have to leave late.
Yeah.
Because they
wait 2 hours for the refs to get there?
They did wait like 45 minutes, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then they were like, no.
And let's go.
Yeah. Here's another one about basketball.
I was just thinking that. I was like, and we're back to basketball.
Go for it.
So Zac K says, it was winter season. Basketball practice had ended for the night. Was getting ready to leave when I was summoned from the athletics hall of my high school to tend to a football athlete who was at the other end of the high school in night school, who was having a seizure, has a history of seizures, and had worked with him before. It ended up being a couple minute seizure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, shoot, the one that I had to manage was about a minute and a half, and that one felt like
it was a long time.
Yeah, it felt like he was going for hours.
Wow.
Zac continues with, and he came back to with normal vitals and feeling okay. Had to contact his mom and wait an additional hour with him for his mom to arrive. As ATs do, always act when called upon. Exactly. That's very true.
You know, I will say, like, I was talking to our friend who's in, IT?
Yes.
And he was saying how he has to be on call. Like, literally, he has to be on call so that if someone calls him, he could work out some technical problem.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like we kind of are like that sometimes, and sometimes we're not. Like, we're on call as if, I mean, it's not like we would have to go to the school or whatever to attend to an emergency because then people just call 911.
Yeah.
But sometimes we do have things where, like, oh, someone needs this right away.
Yes.
And so, kind of, we're on call.
Well, and also, like, depending on, if your athletes have your number or not, if you feel comfortable with that, you'll get a question in the middle of the night, from an athlete like, oh, here's what's happening, here's how I'm feeling, or like a coach will be like, hey, this athlete contacted me with this. So it is like we are on call.
Randy's actually really good at that. If he's gonna go to bed, like, his phone will buzz and he'll be like, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Like, not even looking at who it is. Like, I have no clue how you're so good at that. I would lay in bed and wonder who texted me. Like, I don't have to respond to them, but I would wonder who texted me.
And how I feel about it is like, okay, like if an athlete was not in a good place and was panicking, I feel like they'd call me. Or like they would keep texting me. So if I hear like my phone like exploding, all right, maybe I'll take a look like, oh man, I hope everyone's alive. But like if it's like a buzz, and then a few minutes later, maybe another buzz, that's tomorrow's problem.
Yeah, I've heard you say that a lot.
That is tomorrow's problem. Hey, I'm working on work-life balance.
That's really good.
Doing my best.
I think you text your athletes more than I do, though.
Yes, I do. I text them a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm very particular how I want things, the information I need. Like I tell my athletes, the more information I have, the better. Like, I'd rather them over tell me things than not tell me. So if they're texting me about how they feel, I'd rather have them do that than say nothing.
I prefer them to email me because then, well, it's not sitting in my text thread because I won't open I won't open text if I'm not ready to respond to them.
Yeah.
Same with AT corner messages. I will not open them until I'm ready to respond. But I prefer email because then also like I can see the thread. Of like what documents they've sent over and like what physician referral, like whatever signatures, like stuff that they need. But the thing about texts is like I don't have to open it. So like that's like where my boundary is. Like
Nice.
I don't have to respond to you.
Yeah.
And like I don't have to answer your phone call.
Yeah.
Unless you're calling me like 5 times and then it's like
then something's wrong.
Yeah.
Or if they leave
like,
a message.
I was just about to
If they leave a voicemail, I know it's serious.
Oh, no one leaves voicemails. That's a problem. Oh, you know what? This next one?
Okay.
We should do from Precision AT from Mara.
Yes.
So Mara actually sent in Mara's one of our Precision AT partners.
One of our peeps.
Yeah, she's awesome. And if you guys don't know what Precision AT is, they are the ones who help us with our free CEUs, and they help all the behind the scenes for all the purchase CEUs and all the bonus content and all that. They like run everything.
Yes.
All we do is do the content. It's like so nice.
Oh, big time.
And basically she is I don't even know what this story is because I wanted to be surprised too.
Okay.
Like she gave me a little preview.
Okay.
But I didn't listen to it yet.
All right. So this is going to be a surprise for both of us. This normally doesn't happen very often.
I know. I was kind of excited about it. Okay. So I'm going to play.
All right. Here we go. So it was a cold fall day back in 2003 or something. And I was in Boston working my first ever rugby game. And it was MIT versus Army. And if you could imagine MIT versus Army, it's exactly the way you would think this game would go down. I was so busy, and I used up all of my blood supplies that were in my kit, raided the team's first aid kits, and when the game was over, I had sent at least 2 kids to the hospital as referrals and called 1 ambulance. Yeah, the Army is definitely better rugby players than MIT at that time. And I was packing up and ready to go. And the coach was like, wait, we have a B-side game. And I was like, what is a B-side game? And they said, oh, that's when the other kids play. And I literally was like, I have no supplies left. I was not prepared for this. I didn't know there was another game happening. And anyways, luckily somehow the B-side game was much less brutal than the A-side game, but I made it happen and raided my trunk in my car for like any extra gauze that was laying around in the glove boxes and anywhere I could find gloves and gauze. And it ended up working out fine, but oh my gosh, what a rude awakening to rugby that was. And needless to say, I don't cover too much rugby anymore. Like, I don't cover any rugby anymore. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Okay, that was so great.
That's, I feel you. I try to stay away from rugby. I think we should do a rugby episode.
Successfully avoided rugby.
Yes, you have, which is surprising considering you like football.
I love football. I am terrified of rugby. But also I've never seen rugby, and so like it's hard for me to bridge that gap I know that I'm just providing a lot of care, but it's still like I don't know the sport at all. And that makes it a little bit tough.
That's got to be the most unnerving feeling, thinking that like, okay, thank goodness this event's done. I literally used everything. I'm going home to then hear, no, we have another one. We got another one going, and you have nothing. Ooh. That's got to be like
that's a tough situation.
Most uneasy feeling.
No. Yeah, no.
And also, I want to know who scheduled that game.
Well, it's just not just like, oh, there's another tennis game.
Oh, yeah. No, it's another bloodbath of a game. Here we go.
Oh, my goodness. I'm done after one game. Also, like the mental preparedness that you have.
After sending someone to the ER and call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. That has energy associated with it.
Have you ever had to work a surprise game?
No. I've never had to work a surprise game, but this was when I was a student, one of the certified athletic trainers, like, in the clinic, because it wasn't my preceptor, so I don't want to say preceptor, but one of the club sports. So on our campus, if club sports were going to have a game on campus, they had to hire an athletic trainer. And most of the time they just like contract out to someone or whatever. But I guess they could not find anyone for this game because the person that was supposed to cover was like sick, so had to call out. And like it was like a few hours before game time. So like it was going to be really hard to find someone. So they came into our athletic training room asking like, "Hey, like is there anybody who can like work? We'll pay you guys extra." And like the athletic trainer that decided to work this game was our basketball athletic trainer. So, I mean, still contact-ish, but not rugby. By the way, it was for rugby.
Of course.
Hasn't worked football in a while, which would be the closest thing. Decided to help them out. Like, finally, at the last minute, was like, okay, fine, like, I'll work it. And it was going into the evening, so it really extended his day. So, whatever, he goes out and work. We were studying. Finally, we got to the point where, all right, day's done. You know, we got out of here. This was maybe like 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night. So we like, hey, let's go check on him, see how he's doing out there. We go out there, and the look on his face was the best. He was like, dude, I just like, steri stripped some kid. He just went right back out there. I think I reduced guy's shoulder, and he's out there. like, oh man.
Those are two things that I've done in basketball.
Yeah. Like I said, like basketball's still like contact and it's still intense, but
rugby's scary.
The rugby's just a different animal.
It's built different.
They are built different, and I really think we should do a story episode on rugby experiences.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like the people who work rugby are either like they really love that atmosphere, like either the sport or like that high energy, like something's always happening, or you're newly certified. And you needed to work.
Bad. No, bad. Don't do that. I don't think I've been sitting here like racking my brain. I don't think that I've ever had to do a same day game that I can think of. But I have had to do like next day, which is different.
Yeah. Because at least you have some time to prepare. Like, you know what's happening, even if
Yeah.
it's kind of last minute.
Yeah, I don't really think that I've had to like stay for a game.
See, that's the best part about having one sport, man. I know track's not going to pull that on me. They'll pull the, oh, hey, by the way, we're having a meet next week. But at least that's a week.
My athletic director wouldn't let that happen now.
That's nice.
She'd shut that down real quick.
Like, nope, that ain't happening.
She didn't let one of our coaches schedule like 3 days out.
That is very nice for you.
Yeah. Okay, so this next one is anonymous.
Okay.
Actually, you want to read this one?
Yes, I got this one. So anonymous says, not so much stuck, but had a day off. And we had a young man who dropped on the field from commotio cordis.
Which, wow, I've never heard that anyone's had that in real life.
That's intense. I was called by my AD, who asked what was happening. Not knowing what had happened, I came up to the school as the ambulance was leaving. After one of our student AT aides had assisted with the AED and CPR, EMS took him to the hospital where I followed. A local reporter found my number, so I had to deal with nosy questions I could not answer, and clarifying that our athlete was not the one who passed, as another local football player had passed from sickle cell the same afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
I sat with the family and school admin until midnight or so, helping to parse out what little information we could give. Very stressful day, but we were blessed as our athlete survived a very scary condition. Absolutely.
A very scary condition that also has a really low survival rate, right?
Yeah.
Like really low,
Yeah.
even with an AUD.
Yeah.
So that's...
It's a scary thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So
Also on her day off.
I was just going to say, so not on the same level of intensity as this story, but I've noticed my days off tend to be like half days because I still get texts on my day off, which again, I rather get more information than not, but athletes will ask me questions. And then because we still do kind of like appointment system, like they'll ask me about like, oh, hey, can I come in? And I'll be like, all right, let me see like if someone can take you, if they have, space, so then I'll have to text. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That's on you.
It is. It is. But
My athletes don't text me on my day off.
like we said, they text me a lot. A lot of texts.
But pretty much I tell my athletes, like, you need to text me this. And then, like, when that happens, they text me that. It's not, like, an ongoing thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was that clear?
I think so.
Also, one of my coaches likes to text me, "Good morning."
Uh-oh.
And every time I get that text, I know I'm about to get a call. Because I think it's just, like, waiting for me to text back. And as soon as I
So the
text back,
coast's
they
clear.
know I'm awake or something.
Oh, you're not busy. I got you.
It's usually, like, right before I walk in the door, too.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so Griffin P actually submitted, like, how he works out his schedules for the week.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was really interesting. And he put in, like, pictures of his Excel and his Google form.
Oh, nice.
And so if anyone wants to take this, we're going to, well, once I explain the story, we're going to put it in our Facebook group, which we'll also explain at the end. And I think it would be super helpful for some people to see, like, an example.
Oh, absolutely.
So Griffin said, working in the collegiate setting, I typically send out an Excel sheet for taping times and post-practice treatment times. In addition, I send a Google sign-up for my athletes to sign up for rehab times throughout the day, but I typically just head home during that block of time if no one signs up.
Nice.
This was my schedule for this week. As a GA, I can't do extensive treatments following Thursday practices as a result of my class starting as soon as I get out of practice. I send it to the coaches as well as the athletes so that way they're able to hold the athletes accountable when they are non-compliant for coming into rehab or treatment times. I'd say I stick to it about 3 out of 5 days of the week. The team I cover is currently in their spring season and isn't allowed to practice on the court more than 8 hours per week per the NCAA. I'm typically not following my schedule only when I have to help cover some of the other sports that my coworkers need me to when they're busy taking athletes to appointments. Which, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yep, that's a thing.
It doesn't take me very long now that I've been making them since August. I typically just make a copy of the form from last week, change the dates, and adjust the times if I'm busy covering other sports. The other thing that I do with the schedule is I utilize a choice eliminator plugin, which is just really fancy. I don't even know what that is. That I downloaded through Google that eliminates the time slots after 2 athletes sign up for the same time slot in order to leave tables and space in the AT room available for my coworkers and the other team.
This is brilliant. Like, that's awesome.
I know. I was just, like, constantly in awe. Like, wow, you have just made the system so efficient. And I feel like the hardest part is actually making the system. And once you have the system, then it's like, okay, now I can actually...
I feel like that's with anything, you know? The initial startup of what you're trying to do tends to be harder once it's rolling and everyone's used to it.
Yes. Right now I'm trying to figure out which calendar I use because I have my personal calendar and my work calendar. And I put all my work stuff in my personal calendar, but then I'm like, it's just bogged down. Like, I can't see my personal stuff. But then I don't look at my work calendar unless I'm at work. So then I'm like, how do I manage this right now?
I'm really interested in this. I want to dive into this a little bit. I want to look at this, see how this is working out.
Well, you can. It's actually really cool because it's, like, broken down by taping, heating, stretching, treatment, rehab if needed, taping, heating, stretching, treatment, rehab, and then it's just broken down by day and, like, by time.
That's so neat.
Yeah. And I take
That's
it like
really
that's
cool.
like before and after practice.
I wonder how
It's like, this is when I'm going to be available.
I wonder how the buy-in is with the athletes, or maybe like the initial, you know?
Yeah.
Because you know how like some athletes aren't very good about signing up for things and like.
Yeah. I'd also probably, like, if I'm going to leave at 6, I'd probably put the last, like, oh, I'm here till 5:30 or 5:45.
Yeah.
So then when they walk in, like, 2 minutes before that time, you still have time.
Yeah, exactly. This is interesting. I like it.
I know, it's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So we also asked some advice for leaving on time, which we got a little sassy answers. But I put together some that were actual advice.
Okay.
And we're going to also put that up on our Facebook group.
Yes.
And then we also have two, one from Bethany A and one from Karina G that we'll share now.
Yeah, so Bethany A says, anytime it seems I'm staying late, my evaluation is a lot quicker / more condensed. So I can tell if this is an emergency that needs my attention now, or if the athlete can work on stretching / heating / icing, and we can take a better look the following day. Yes, that's what I'm saying. As long as I'm leaving knowing that this is not emergency, you will not die, we can pick this up tomorrow.
So I had a preceptor who literally, if someone walked in as we were leaving, like, it didn't matter what it was, non-emergent, like, it didn't matter. He would say, we're closed. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, I mean...
And I remember as a student, like, I didn't understand the whole boundary thing yet, right? And I was like, wow, like, you can do that? But
it's very weird, huh?
Yeah. But I never seen anyone before that
do that.
And so I just was very, like, surprised. I didn't know that
was an option.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, yes, you guys, you can do that. One of my favorite advice that we got was, you can leave on time and still be viewed as a great athletic trainer.
That is true. Sometimes it feels like, oh, well, I don't want the kids to, like, think I'm lazy or think like, oh, that guy's a jerk. So it does sometimes feel like that, but that is true. Like, just because you have set time, like, and also what I've noticed, the athletes themselves tend to be very understanding. Like, even like from the aspect of like lunch or something, like they actually do feel bad. Like, they'll come in and be like, oh my gosh, are you trying to leave? Like, I'm sorry. And if anything, we're the ones who are like, no, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they actually really are understanding.
Yeah. Or, like, I'll be eating my lunch and they're like, oh, no, I'll come back after you're done with your lunch. Really?
Like, that's very nice. I'm always like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I ate like a quarter of it. It's good. That'll get me through.
Yeah.
And hence why I probably don't eat my lunch very well.
You should change that.
Hey, slowly but surely, I'm not answering texts late at night.
So this is also good. Karina G said, poor planning on your part does not necessitate an emergency on mine.
Ooh.
Don't go out of your way staying late, changing your schedule, feeling bad about shorter rehab times when others don't bother to consider your schedule and just show up whenever or give you last-minute schedule changes.
And you know what? Sometimes that is true. There's some kids who, like, especially like if you're in the collegiate setting when you know their schedule pretty good.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they come in at like the last possible time. You're like, where were you then? Like, where were you at this time? Where were you here?
You know what we have done in our ATR is we have implemented like, if you give me less than 10 minutes, obviously this is not important to you.
It's not a big deal.
So we're not, like, we'll find a different time. You can't come in the last 10 minutes before practice or the last 10 minutes before the time that we set.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And they understand that. And sometimes it takes them, like, to come in and us be like, dude, like,
yeah,
what are you going to do right now?
Yeah.
So,
like what are you expecting us to do in 10 minutes?
Yeah. And 10 minutes before I have to be on the court, not 10 minutes before I have to walk out of this room.
And we're not just talking about taping, because obviously, like, if it's someone you know who's getting taped, obviously that's not going to take 10 minutes. But, like, it's people coming in who are like, oh, I want treatment, or, oh, this hurts. And, like, they've never said anything to you. And we're on week 3 of this hurting. And, like you gotta plan this out a little bit better.
I think it also changes depending on, like, for me, depending on who I'm working with, because if I have someone who's, like, super dedicated and they've been coming in consistently and they come in or they communicate that they're going to come in, like, a little bit later.
Yeah.
Or...
Well, you can game plan.
Exactly. Then I'll, like, work with them. But if it's someone who, like, comes in inconsistently and then says, oh, can you do ultrasound on me? It's like, well, what rehab exercise are you doing to...
Also...
I'm not just going to treat you.
Also, what's hurting? How long has it been hurting? Do I really want to do ultrasound? Is that the best thing right now? Like,
I'm not a oil change service. You don't just tell me when you're due for something.
My favorite's, I'm not in and out. Like, you can't just order it off the menu here, guy. But, like, I obviously, you know, we do take their input, but, like, you don't just walk and be like, I want this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
That's all about leaving late. That's athletic training every day.
Yeah. I think the hardest part is that literally everyone's like, well, just set a boundary. But it's like, what actually is...
Now, how do you set that boundary?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Especially with athletic trainers so many times being in that servant role. Like,
I mean, at the end of the day, we do want to help people. And that's how we do fall into the whole, like, okay, like, let's just take a look real quick. Or like, okay, like, we'll do this real quick. Because, you know, we really do care about the kids. And, you know, we want them to get better. So you never want to, and then also there's always that subconscious, like, you don't want to blow something off and then it'd be like a bigger deal.
oh my goodness.
The anxiety
like
on that drive.
Yeah.
But,
anyway, so this Facebook group that we were talking about.
Yes.
If you want to head over to our Facebook group for that advice and also the things that Griffin was talking about with his schedule and the Google Forms, head over to facebook.com/group/AT Corner podcast, or just look up AT Corner community in the search bar. It's free. There are a couple questions to get in. I think it's, there's just one.
Yeah, it's just one.
Where did you hear about our podcast? Super easy. And then you're automatically approved. You don't even have to wait for me.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, if you want to submit a future story, then you can head over to our Instagram because we post them on our stories. If this makes you think of a story, post it in our Facebook group, or we have episode threads. So, you can like comment, talk with other people listening to the show.
Yes.
And it's, we've been kind of quiet in there lately because we've been busy,
Yeah.
but hopefully we'll pick up a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, every other episode, if you guys are new, is education or stories. This one was a story episode. Next week, we're going back to that education. And if you like this, share it with a friend. I don't think we have any more fine print.
Nope, I think that's good.
All right, go for it.
Thank you for helping us showcase athletic training behind the tape. Bye.